also going to roll to a side. And I'm going to let you decide. If you discern for yourself that lying on a side, whichever one, that resting with your bottom arm long as a pillow to rest your head on is not so comfortable, then you get the equivalent of what you think would be the width of your arm as a support, so that you don't have to worry that your arm doesn't feel so comfortable in that position. And first, you just rest on your back. Spread your legs approximately hip, shoulder width apart. Feel what that feels like. If for you, you feel it's not comfortable to have your legs long and you want to have your knees to bend so the foot is standing, one foot or both feet, honor you, because you'll notice through the lesson, you change. Not because you were fixed or coercively forced, but rather you made gentle comparisons. You listen to your breathing. Listen to your contact. Notice what it is now. It might be great. Maybe it's not so great, but just notice so that throughout the lesson, as you rest on your back, you start to discern, oh, something is changing. Although it might be subtle, it's always significant. You listen to your breathing. Now, very slowly, just compare. It's just a subtle comparison that you roll your head from one side very slowly to the other and feel, well, how you do it. You know how to do this. Does one side feel more yielding, more available? Is it just the rolling of your head? Or might you also feel that something else happens in your chest, your shoulder, in you? And then you bring your head back to the middle. Many times we have this tendency to be good students, and I'm going to do what you tell me to do. But we fail to recognize, wait a minute, am I impeding the rest of me passively to join the movement? Now, very slowly, bring one foot to stand. Do it however you do, but listen to what you do and which leg you chose. And one leg is standing, the other leg is long. Now, very slowly, I don't know which foot you stood in relationship to the head rolling. I'm watching several of you. But very slowly, with the foot that is standing and the leg that is long, roll your head and feel the difference when you roll your head. Are you rolling your head first to the side of the foot that's standing or the side that is long? And feel the difference. Now, slowly, as you go to depress ever so gently into your standing foot, do it in such a way that it allows the long leg to begin to roll a little outward, a little bit. That's it. And when you do that, depressing gently into the standing foot to allow the long leg to roll out a little bit. Did your head roll to that long side or did it roll to the other side? What did you do? And then very slowly, allow your head to roll to the side of the long leg as you gently depress into the standing foot in such a way that when you feel that the leg starts to roll, Allow that knee to bend out to the side on the floor, but it'll lift a little bit as you're sliding that foot inward towards your midline. That's it. And then you lengthen the leg. You inhale as you're lengthening that knee that you bent. You let it go long again. Your head comes back to the middle. And you do that again. Rehearse that, the quality of ease, that you're yielding to this long side as you begin to soften the knee to bend. The foot is sliding inward until you feel that, my goodness, I have rolled that long leg out to the side such that the knee bends, the foreleg and foot slide inward until you feel that's the knee bending, and then transition that foot to come underneath the knee in a standing vertical position as the knee yields towards the ceiling. Slide the foot to go underneath the knee as the knee comes to stand. So some of you will wind up with 2 feet standing. If you're not having 2 feet stand, yield, the knee will bend. Don't think so much that I'm just bending the knee and bringing the foot inward. The purpose of doing this is that you transition that long leg as it's bending to come into a standing foot, hip, shoulder width apart. That's it. Now, slowly, take that knee that you brought into the vertical standing, gently let it tilt out to the side. As you're doing it, gently to press into the standing foot to help yield that knee towards the floor, and then slide on the outside edge of the foot to lengthen that leg again. That's it. You're bringing a long leg into what we would call a frog leg or a baby leg to transition it to stand. And feel the rolling through you. Did your head roll to that side? Did your weight roll to that side, the other side of the standing foot pushing, lift it a little bit away from the floor? Good. Get familiar with this movement. Make it smooth, luxurious, easy, and let all of you passively participate. Don't let anything go out to pasture. Come in from the pasture. So you wind up then with 2 standing feet in the vertical, knees in the vertical. Once you've done this where you feel, this quality of easy, sliding, rolling, gliding to bring this foot to stand just feels, it's nice. I'm enjoying this. The next time you bring that long leg into a vertical standing foot, you stay there, and then you reverse the pattern. Now that's the new standing foot. Yield the other knee to begin to lay out gently to the floor. When is it that this new standing foot depresses? And then you slide that leg down long. And then you rehearse it. You go from 2 feet standing to 1 foot standing. The other leg is transitioning to go to the side to lengthen and go long. And then you reverse it and you bring it to stand. Just this pattern. Don't impose how far the knee goes to the floor. The knee as it bends wants to lift from the floor, but don't lift it. Don't stretch anything, just where it feels yielding and easy and pleasant. And feel that you're rolling through your pelvis, rolling through the ribs, shoulder blades, head. And then you bring your feet 2 feet to stand, and you rest with feet standing. Good. So a little bit of frog leg, baby leg. Did it get easier when you started to yield and allow the rest of you to accompany the movement, to draw a foot up to stand? That's what you're looking for. Now, very slowly, go back and roll your head as we did in the very beginning. And begin to feel, is it a little different now that I have 2 feet standing? And then slowly as you can, begin to then, as you are rolling your head, one side, back to the middle, to the other side, begin to allow your knees to roll and tilt with your rolling head. And begin to discern for yourself if you would like to roll to your right side or your left side. If you're going to roll to a side, when is it that one arm could slide up and get out of your way, whether it becomes the long arm to rest your head on, or whether you just let that arm slide out 90 degrees-ish, but you use the hand or the other hand circling around you, circling through you to grab the support for your head. And come to lie on your desired side. Remember, listen to your parts when they want to come. If any part, an arm, whatever, gets caught out to pasture, you might feel something in the joint. Ah, no. Welcome. Join the party. And then lie on your chosen side. You're looking more or less for the support to be not too high, not too low, just right. And rest here. Now, very slowly, I'm going to ask you as you exhale to make a really gentle movement. It's very gentle. Notice what you want to do with the top arm. It could stand on the floor in a push-up position right now, or it could lie long on top of the top hip. You get to choose. There are options. And now very slowly, as you go to exhale, could you very gently, in a very lovingly way, lean and depress the ribs on the floor gently into the floor. You exhale and just gently feel those ribs, and then just make a little bit more pressure, leaning into the floor. And then you let go as you inhale. That's all you do. And you do that a few times to discern, oh, are these the lower third of my ribs closer to the waist? Are they the middle third of my ribs? Or are they the ribs closer to my underarm? Where do you go when I say lean and depress gently into your ribs? And what is that relationship when you lean and depress gently into the ribs? Did something happen in your top hip? Did something happen in your head? Did your head seem to get a little longer, like the tortoise's head popped out of the shell? Just by leaning, depressing with an exhalation into the ribs on the floor. Did the ribs towards the ceiling accordion together or fan apart? What happened to the relationship between your ribs on the floor and the ribs towards the ceiling? Good. Now pause here on this side and take your top arm. Hopefully this is available for all of you, but if it's not, you'll have to modify. Take your top arm and bring it to come over your head so that the elbow bends, the forearm comes over the crown of your head, and that hand holds the bottom temple area of your forehead, your frontal bone. So you're actually, there you go. Now very slowly, the next time you exhale, please use that hand that is holding the bottom side temple or ear region and lift your head. It's side bending, looking forward. That's it. And then you inhale and you put the head back. The elbow would be not in front of you. The elbow would be towards the ceiling. So the elbow of the hand that is going to lift your head is towards the ceiling. so that as you exhale and lift your head, that elbow is arcing through space in the direction of the top hip. So the elbow is never in front of you. The elbow is always when you're holding the head and you want to lift the head, the elbow is towards the ceiling. If the elbow is coming in front of you, then you're going to have to find another modification because this is not the movement. If the elbow is in front of you, you cannot lift your head. Good. Now, as you go to lift your head, are you also gently depressing into the ribs on the floor? Why would I have brought that into the equation before I asked you to lift your head? And then feel what's happening to your upper hip, the side of the hip that's towards the ceiling. Is that rolling towards the elbow as the elbow is arcing towards the hip? You're side bending. Good. Now let go of your arm, the top arm that is crossed over the crown of your head. Rest that arm. Maybe put that hand of the top arm in a push-up position in front of your chest. And you just rest here. Now slowly take the top leg. If it's available for you, take the top leg. The more you can, to the best of your ability, bend your hips. Bend your hips so that your thighs will come more at a 90-degree angle in front of you, like a lap. And then your knees are bent at 90 degrees and your feet reside underneath the knee joint. There, beautiful. Now take the top leg, if it's available for you, and slide the top foot back behind the bottom one and elongate that leg like it's a leg of a flamingo or a stork or an ostrich. That's it. And then slowly, as you exhale, press into your hand and lift that leg in the direction of the ceiling. Doesn't have to go high. And then bring it back down as you inhale. Exhale and lift it. Inhale and lower it. And is that leg behind you or like a leg that you could stand on? Or is it in front of you? I don't want it far back behind, but I want it underneath your hip joint. Good. And now play that as you go to exhale and lift this long leg, could you flex, bend the front of your ankles so that it's the sole of your foot that is pointed towards the wall below your foot? Did that make it a little easier to lift? Good. That's it. Now, pause for a moment. If you need to bend that knee, whether it's behind the other knee or stack it again, just to rest, you take care of yourself. That's it. Just pause there a moment. Go ahead and take your top hand, your top arm, place it over the crown of your head to hold the bottom temple, ear, wherever you've got good purchase. That's it. And now once, bring that leg back into that stork, ostrich, flamingo, long leg behind you, but it's down below the hip joint. That foot is underneath your hip joint. And now once only, lift your head. Exhale, lift your head with the hand. Only the head, only the head. Then put the head back. Then keep the head quiet. Then lift only the leg. And then compare again. Lift only the head. The foot stays on the floor. Put the head back as you inhale. Next time you're ready to exhale, lift only the long leg. And feel, what's the difference? What ribs are folding when you just lift the head and when you just lift the leg? And then the next time, lift both at the same time. Oh, did that make it easier? Were you leaning, hugging, kissing the ribs on the floor side into the floor that made both ends lift lighter and easier? Good. Slowly look towards the ceiling, roll, and come back onto your back to rest. Yeah. If the hand is still over the head, you could turn the head to roll, yield, roll onto your back, and rest. If your preference is to stand your feet, that's fine. Just have them hip shoulder width. That's it. And just rest. Notice your contact. What's different? So now there's the other side, the one that you didn't choose. Slowly organize yourself. Do you want to do the baby leg, frog legs to bring the feet to stand first? Why did I start with that? Feel the rolling through your pelvis. Were you rolling through your rib basket? Was the head participating? Keep looking for what feels more pleasant, easy, enjoyable. And then roll on to the other side. And on this other side, what is the timing? If you sweep one arm up, the other arm that doesn't get lost out to pasture, does it sweep overhead? Does it roll through the center, come across you? Do you want that hand in a push-up position on the floor in front of your chest? Would you rather have it long on top of this new top hip? Find that ballpark of 90 degrees. It means the pelvis has got to go back. If the pelvis goes back and the spine lengthens, then the knees will come forward without any strain in the knees. And if you find that 90 degrees where the forelegs rest underneath the knee joint, not back behind it, oh, that's really easy in the knees. And now once again, lean, press gently into the ribs on the floor. You're going to fan apart a little bit as you exhale. And then you just let go, you inhale. And you can play like musical chairs. Oh, am I pressing into the lower ribs near my waist? Is that where I first start? Because it's more available, it's easier. Oh, do I start to press a little bit more into the middle ribs? Those middle ribs. Or do I press up near the ribs near my armpit? For most, that's not where we press, but I remember I was teaching this lesson once, and this one person said, yep, that's where I press. And I was like, interesting. And spread that movement of leaning, gently pressing, kissing, hugging into those ribs on the floor, and pay attention to what happens to the ribs on the ceiling side. And if it's happening to the ribs on the ceiling side, what's happening to the shoulder and the hip on the ceiling side? Are they coming closer together? Then take this new top arm and place it over the crown of your head to hold the bottom temple or ear region. It'll be the sense that the forearm is resting over the crown of your head. Remember Queen for a Day? Right where they would put that crown. And then as you exhale, lift your head. Just the head. The legs are stacked. And then you inhale, you place the head back. Keep it gentle and easy. And pay attention, every time you lift your head with the top arm, did that top hip pelvis roll closer towards the elbow? Good. And then for a moment, after you've done that, you lay the head back, keep your hand where it is as long as it's comfortable, and lengthen this top leg like a stork, a flamingo, an ostrich, long underneath the hip joint, not back behind it, not in front of it. Can you find underneath it? And then just flex the ankle a little bit as you go to just lift the leg, just lift the leg. You might feel in your hand that's still over the crown of your head got a little taller. It moved up, did it? And you don't have to lift high. Just lift where it's easy. And maybe you feel when you lift, what happened to the ribs on the floor side? Oh, what happened to the outside edge of the legs still bent on the floor? Are they all gently leaning, hugging into the floor? And then once, lift the head as you exhale, only the head. You leave the foot on the floor. You inhale, you bring it back. Then you lift only the leg. Doesn't have to be high. And then you lift the head again. What happened when I lifted the head? What happened to the leg? Did it feel like it wanted to slide down a little bit? And when you feel, I'm only going to lift the leg, oh, did the head get a little taller out of your spine? And then lift them both together at the same time as you exhale. And feel, where are you leaning, hugging, depressing into the floor as a base of support so that these limbs, your head with your hand, and this long flamingo leg lift. Beautiful. And then slowly transition yourself back onto your back and rest. So this is a lesson where we're going to do a little on this side. We're going to duplicate it on that side so that you can make comparisons. Easy and gentle comparisons. Notice your breathing, your contact. It was very interesting. I was watching many people, the work that I do, witnessing to help suggest how to make it easier. And I saw some people even surprise me. These were practitioners squeezing their legs close together. That was their familiar, their habitual. So for a moment, but no pain, draw your legs very close together. They don't have to touch, but close together. But never to create any discomfort, just to compare. What happened to your lower back when you brought your legs close together? And then spread your legs a little wider, like I talk about hip shoulder width. Was there a difference in your contact, your breathing? Easier? And then very slowly, both legs are long. Which leg are you going to start with in order to frog leg, baby leg? Soften that knee, roll the head a little to that direction. Allow that knee to bend until you can transition that foot from a baby leg, frog leg into a standing foot. Knee in the vertical. And then gently, as you're ready to bring that other long leg into that standing position, depress gently into the standing foot. Let your head roll to the other side. Yield that knee to bend out to the side. The four-legged foot slides a little inward and transition that leg into another standing foot. Good. And now roll back onto your original side. Whether you were on the right side or the left side, go to the side that you started with. I'm going to teach top side and bottom side. And just look for that 90 degrees between hips and knees. Start with the hips, the pelvis, got to go back. If we let the pelvis go back, well, the knees are going to slide forward. We're going to get a great lap. Good. Now, very slowly, you're in a certain orientation. Maybe go ahead and put the top hand in a push-up position in front of your chest. And now slowly, think about a specific vertebra in the back of you. Well, we have vertebrae in the front of us, the body of the vertebra, and then we have that little tadpole, it's called spinous process on the back. And each vertebra is approximately 1.5 inches apart. So find one, as if I was right there and I could trail your spine and I could take my finger and tap that little one and say, there. Which one are you thinking of? And very slowly, as you exhale, gently take that one vertebra that you're thinking of and bow it back behind you, as if there was a cat or a dog or a little wall or somebody you're going to lean back into. Round, and then inhale and come to neutral. That's it. And do that several times and feel that every time you think of that one vertebra that's going back, did your head and your knees come a little closer? Did your eyes cast down to look in the direction of your knees? Or did you know, I didn't pay attention to any of that? I'm eliciting a global folding pattern of rounding. Maybe you also depress into the standing ham just a little bit as you exhale to encourage. Ooh, that vertebra is going back. Did the ends of you, your head, your knees, come a little closer? Not because you're doing it, but your abdominals contracted. That's it. And then move up or down 1.5 inches, another vertebra, and think of this folding pattern. That's where you're folding. That one area is leaning back, and everything else around it is circling forward a little bit. And make sure you come back to the neutral. So you open a little bit. You don't have to go into the big extension. If you want to, you could, but you're just folding and opening. That's it. And feel that by thinking of your spine going a little back and then coming forward, and you feel your thighs, your knees, your head, your shoulder on the floor are moving as if you had body paint and your mat was your canvas. You're actually smearing some of that body paint into this folding flexion pattern. And then you inhale, you come back to the neutral. That's it. Good. Now, keep the bottom leg bent on the floor passive. It's your anchor I speak about. It's the platform that you rest on. And this is up to you. If it feels comfortable and familiar and you want to, you can. If you don't want to, you just slide the top bent leg on the bottom leg. If you want to, you feel it's available, could you lift about 1 inch or 2 the bent top leg away from the bottom leg? So it's hovering up. No, but it's got to be parallel. If the foot is more towards the ceiling and the knee, and then put the leg down. Put the leg down, because some of you lift, but the leg is not a stable structure. That's better. Good. Now, slowly, whether you lift the leg or you simply slide the leg, please begin. Maybe if you need to use the top hand to help, that's okay. Begin to fold. You can think of that one vertebra in the back, but begin to think that you want to bring your knee and your forehead incrementally closer together. Whether you lift the leg or you just slide, and then you exhale, you do it, and then you inhale and you go back to the neutral. You do a little folding pattern. That's it. And again, you can slide the you can slide the top leg on the bottom leg, or you can lift it a little bit, but it wants to be parallel to the ground. That's it. And you discern, do you want to flex the ankle? Does that make it easier to lift? Do you want to extend the ankle? Where is it lighter to lift the knee? And it could be a little, it doesn't have to be a lot. And think, what's the difference if I think of my forehead and my knee compared to my nose and my knee coming towards each other, or my chin and my knee? And you compare each of those three, I call them landmarks, to feel what's different in my spine and which of these landmarks, my forehead, my nose, my chin, it affects your spine differently. Which one gives a greater sense of, ah, oh, that feels good to fold, and then open. That's it. Beautiful. And then slowly, when you've started to fold yourself, could you slowly avert your eyes, the knee, towards the ceiling, a little bit of rolling through the bottom side, and come back on your back and rest. Notice your contact. Anytime you want to lengthen your knees, you can. Frog leg, baby leg. You can do them other ways, but just go where it feels, that just feels really easy and nice. And then roll onto your other side, the second side. Ah, beautiful. Oh, I'm seeing such beautiful movements now. So it's the folding. So when you fold, did it inform you that if you begin and initiate the movement from these bigger portions, oh, this one I was suggesting from the middle basket, the middle sphere, the chest, the vertebral column, did that make the folding of your head and your knee, the top knee now and the head, easier? So think, you don't have to just break it down and do one vertebra at a time, leaning, pushing gently back as you exhale, but keep that in your memory as you start to now, whether you slide and glide the top knee on the bottom knee to come towards you, or whether you choose to lift it parallel an inch or two away from the bottom leg. These are options. No, you don't have the long leg. You have a bent leg and you're folding. That's it. And then you just go to the neutral. Yes, that's it. Just go to the neutral. Because in fact, if you want to reverse it, then you think that when you are opening, you think that the knee goes down to the wall below you, as if you were standing on your knee, and the foreleg and foot goes back behind you as your head rocks back. That's it. And then you fold, rounding. And for those that want to open and extend, you just bring the knee as if it was going to stand on the floor below you, and you sweep the foreleg and foot back behind as the head rocks back. Beautiful. You're using the center of you, the biggest muscles, the biggest bone structure, to mobilize the smaller joints. And then, did you compare? Where does it feel easier if I think my forehead, my nose, or my chin when the knee and the head are coming towards each other? If you're going into the fuller extension pattern, oh, what part of the back of your head are you thinking of? You thinking of the flat portion of your head? Are you thinking of the more bulbous portion, where I usually suggest bring your hands interlaced when I ask for interlaced hands? You thinking looking upward, opening your mouth? Good. And then slowly find your way back onto your back and rest. Lovely. Beautiful. You see, as I witness you, those I can see, I see a congruency of movement that's awakening in all of you. It's not all of these separate movements with all of our own little habits and patterns. You become human beings moving in a more human, organic way. And it's lovely to witness. And we're not in the same, we are in the same room in the sense of the Zoom room, but we're not in the same room where we can always feel the same, what I call the morphic energy, yet it's evolving. Now, slowly rest on your back, feel what this feels like. And then go back, whether your legs are long or a foot is standing, and bring one foot to stand in that frog leg, baby leg pattern we played with in the very beginning. And then once one foot is standing, oh, that standing foot can actually help to bring the other leg. So think which leg you chose to initiate bringing to stand. Was that going to be the leg that you go, oh, that's going to be more helpful for the other leg? It needs that little bit of support. And now your feet are standing. And you rest here with 2 feet standing. Now, here, just for a moment, comfortably spread your feet a comfortable width, maybe a little wider, but both feet are standing. Both feet are standing. That's it. Good. Now, I'm just going to ask you one knee only, but easy, easy, easy. The foot of the knee that you're going to explore, you decide, is it the right knee? Is it the left knee? You choose. One foot stands planted. It's not going to be the active one. It's supportive. But the other knee that you're thinking of, the foot stays, it pivots a little bit. Begin to tilt that knee a little bit inward, back to the neutral, and outward. Easy. In and out. Nice and easy. And take the same side hand and place it on that hip joint, wherever you think it is, the side, the front of it, so that that movement of one's tilting the knee a little bit in, then the knee comes back over the foot, then the knee goes out. You'll feel in that hand, oh, there's a movement in my hip joint. Yeah. And now feel that no matter what, your foot is always going to be either outside of the knee tilting in. It's only when the knee comes back on top of the heel that it's aligned. And then you tilt the knee outward and you feel, oh, something happens maybe in my ankle a little bit. But the foot is always playing an oppositional pattern when the knee is waving in or out. Good. Now slowly roll back onto your first side. Which knee were you thinking of? Were you thinking of now it's the bottom knee or the top knee? Doesn't matter. I'm going to give 2 variations here. One variation is very gentle and easy. You can keep the legs stacked. The other variation is you could lift the top leg about an inch away from the bottom leg and do it in the air. You get to choose. Very slowly, do that same movement with this top leg that you were just doing on your back, which means first, think that the knees pivot. The knee will aim towards the bottom knee or towards the floor, and you bring the heel, the sole of your foot, towards the ceiling. Think of the sole of your foot. And then you reverse it, and you bring the knee in the direction of the ceiling, only where it's easy, and maybe the top foot transitions and stands on the bottom foot. And you can put your top hand on the top hip to feel the movement. And you can even use that top hand on your top hip to facilitate rolling that thigh, rolling the hip, And now, as you bring the knees towards each other, roll your head towards the floor. And as you bring the knee towards the ceiling, roll your head towards the ceiling. That's it. That's it. So you're using all of you. And you can use that top hand to facilitate. That's. Now, which direction are you going to go if I said, oh, roll to your back? And roll. Use the movement you just did. Is it bringing the foot towards the ceiling, or is it bringing the knee towards the ceiling that would allow you to roll to your back and rest? Use the pattern. Roll your head as you tilt the knee towards the ceiling, roll to your back and rest. Notice your contact. One leg at a time. Which leg are you going to start with? Bring it into a frog leg position, baby leg position, to bring that leg to stand. The other leg that's long? Oh, now that you have one foot standing, gently as you exhale, to press into that foot to help the rolling to the other side of the long leg to bring that leg into a frog leg, baby leg to stand. And now roll to your other side. So these are movements we're going to make. Now the bottom side is the top side. Do you want to start with your hand in a push-up position? Do you want the hand to start resting on the top hip? Because it's going to give you feedback. It could also help. And these two movements, one, begin to tilt so that the top knee wants to slide or direct itself towards either the bottom knee or the floor, so that the sole of the top foot starts to organize towards the ceiling. Just go where it's easy. Are you thinking of the side of the foot going towards the ceiling, or the sole of your foot? And every time so it's not gliding the hip and knee forward and back. It's literally pivoting the top knee on the bottom knee if it's resting. That's it. It's not opening the knee forward. It's keeping the knee at 90 degrees, and it's pivoting the knee towards the floor or the bottom knee. It's not opening the knee, and it's bringing the foot towards the ceiling. And every time you go to do that, roll your head towards the floor. If you're going to use your hand at that top hip or thigh, roll as if you wanted to bring your bum towards the ceiling. That's it. Once you get this clearer, because I'm not seeing it as clear with everybody, but it's okay, then reverse it slowly as you bring the legs back together. This is when you might rock your hip and knee a little back so that the knee opens. You bring the knee more towards the ceiling. Maybe that top foot starts to transition and stand on the bottom foot. Okay, you can bring it on the floor. but you keep the bottom leg on the floor. You're not transitioning to your back yet. And then begin to alternate. So one would be when you're opening the knee, it's like a big yawn. Oh, and you roll your head towards the ceiling, following the knee. And then the other direction, it's the knees are coming close together, but the foreleg and the top foot is coming away. That's it. And when the foot goes towards the ceiling, you roll your face towards the floor. Better. Better. The more you can roll yourself, not going to your belly, but the more you can let your face, your chest start to roll towards the floor, you might find that the foot goes a little bit more, the sole of the foot, a little bit more in the orientation of the ceiling. And you can put your hand on your hip, on your pelvis, wherever you think the top hand could inform you of this rolling through your pelvis. Once the knee goes towards the ceiling, the foot comes to stand on the floor of the foot, or it's in the air. And then you reverse it. Good. And then slowly, which direction would you follow? Could you begin to open the knee towards the ceiling by also bringing it a little closer to you, folding it, rounding your spine, and roll onto your back and rest. The closer you can bring the knee towards you, that folding pattern, the rolling might be a little easier. And then you come onto your back and you rest. Let the knees not be close together. Make the knees spread. The feet can be close together, but don't squeeze the legs together. Let the knees separate in the direction of their respective shoulders. That's better. And then you just rest on your back. Now, very slowly, if your legs are long, return them to stand. Baby leg, frog legs, use that pattern. That's it. Feel the rolling. Your spheres are rolling, and you just rest. Now you're resting on your back, your feet are standing. Now, which leg are you going to choose? If I said, this is easy, slow motion, one foot gently depresses into the floor, and you bring the other knee, you de-weight the foot, you bring the other knee over your chest. Maybe think of that knee in the direction of that shoulder so that you don't have to work it. It folds over you. And then once it's there, just drop the foot to the floor. Plump. That's it. Now do that again, the same foot. Stand into the foot. As you exhale, bring that other knee over your chest. Think of the shoulder. Don't try to open the knee, because if the foreleg is hanging, the foot is hanging, let it be. And then just plop, drop it back onto the floor. Plop. That's it. Beautiful. That's it. Do it again. And then plop. That's it. Now, reverse. Keep that foot, that is now a potent foot, standing on the floor. Exhale, depress into that foot. Bring the other knee over your chest in the direction of the shoulder. And then feel the foreleg, the foot just hang. Flop that foot onto the floor. Oh, that's skeletal support. Yep. And begin to alternate. One. That's it. Feel that vibration, that up through your structure. Boingability. That's it. In a sense, you're gently stamping your foot, but feel how it goes all the way through. Make sure when you bring the knee over your chest, don't hold that foreleg and foot in the air. Let the weight of the foreleg and foot dangle and hang. Then you drop it. Boom. Boom. Beautiful. And rest. That sense you just felt, for what I saw, is skeletal support. When you feel that oscillation that just shimmies up through you, all of you, no pain, no discomfort, but just wow. That's what we're talking about, movement traveling cleanly through the joint surfaces, all the way up, all the way down. Slowly, bring your feet to stand in this fashion we've been playing with. Roll by way of one side. Notice, in order to roll, how much of you follows that pattern. And then transition yourself to come to stand. When you come into your vertical, eyes forward on your horizon, take your time. Where are the supports? Fold, round yourself. Put a hand to press into the floor. Keep folding until you transition to come up, to sit. Use your supports. Maybe they're your hands that help push. Keep a wider stance between your feet and your legs. The narrower stance, the more difficult it'll be, more strain on the joints. That's it. And transition to come to stand. That's it. The whole idea is we have to straighten the knee to come up. We have to send the knee back when it's bent so it becomes a strong leg. And you stand. Or you can sit and feel your uprightness. And some of those movements we did with the knees in and out, well, think of a flapper girl. Tilt your knees in, tilt your knees out. Did you have to send your pelvis back to fold? Yeah. That's it. That's what we did. That's what we did. Lovely. There you go. Your lesson for today.